So let's just start with a minute or two of silence, and we'll set our motivation for engaging in this practice. So just connect with the breath and spend a minute in silence or so to calm the mind a bit before we begin. And before we set our motivation, just recall that this purification practice is very, very powerful. And we can remove any negativity through engaging in this. But it's important that we do have the right motivation. I can certainly start with just the intention of having a good rebirth and good experiences beyond this life. This is where purification is taught in the stages of the path, is that initial way to work with what is on our horizon beyond this life and how do we make sure that we have ideal conditions to continue our spiritual path. But it's even more powerful if we can bring the motivation of achieving our liberation, being free of all that drives us to engage in negative karma, all of our delusions, and especially the ignorance that's at the root of samsara. But even that motivation is still somewhat limited. Ideally, we want to bring the motivation of bodhicitta. We're going to engage in this practice of purification with the intention of helping ourselves to become a Buddha for the sake of all beings, to be able to then work spontaneously, effortlessly, perfectly for the welfare of all sentient beings. This is how we make our purification even more powerful, is by having this motivation of bodhicitta, the wish to become a Buddha for the sake of all beings. So then, with that motivation in mind, let's go through the four opponent powers, kind of meditate on each of these, as well as, engaging in the recitation of Ajasattva mantra and so on. We begin by generating regret or remorse. So it is important that we work on what we might have done since our last purification, whenever that was, maybe 24 hours ago. We think in particular about what we might have done through our bodies, speech, and mind, the actions we might have engaged in physically involve killing, stealing, any unwise sexual behavior, and any other ways that we might have harmed beings physically. And then those of speech, where we have been deceptive towards others, lied to them, where we have tried to divide them with our talk, where we have spoken with a harshness, been unkind in the words or the way that we've talked to others. And then also the way that we've engaged in meaningless speech. And then finally, the three of mind, where we've had a mind of attachment that's coveting possessions of others, the mind of ill will that wishes to harm others, and certainly the most serious of the three of mind, having any wrong views that might have entered into our awareness, not believing in karma, for example, or denying things that the Buddha taught. Just try to bring any of these actions to mind that you've engaged in most recently, but then also any other actions you want to continue to work on, especially more powerful actions that are negative that you might have done in this life, as well as inferring things you might have done in prior lives based on the experiences that you've encountered in this life that are the ripening of those past actions. Let's just spend a minute or two reflecting on the things that we want to regret tonight and purify. And then we move on to the second power, which is the power of reliance. And on the screen now, I put an image of Vajrasattva that we can visualize in the space above us, facing the same direction as us. It's perfectly white in color, this absolutely pure white, representing the power of purification. At his heart, he's holding a Vajra and bell, the Vajra in his right, the bell in his left, symbolizing respectively the method side of the path as well as the wisdom side. These arms are crossed, kind of showing the union of method and wisdom that is the pathway to achieving enlightenment, Buddhahood. He's sitting in the cross-legged posture, top of a lotus, smiling at you and all beings, there as a resource to help us to purify. And think that Vajrasattva is your guru. If you don't have a direct guru, think of whoever it is that is playing that role or other beings that you have some admiration for, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama or Lama Zopa Rinpoche, are appearing in that form, inseparable from Vajrasattva. Then for reliance, we generate the two mindsets of refuge and bodhicitta, bringing to mind our own sense of safe direction that we find in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, especially the Dharma, especially the teachings on karma that are so essential for us to follow in our lives so we can purify actions effectively as well as refrain from committing harmful actions and engage in mainly wholesome actions. So renew your confidence, your faith in the Dharma, all the teachings of the Buddha who taught them, and the Sangha who practiced them. And then also generate the mind of bodhicitta that we just meditated on earlier, thinking that we're here with a sense of restoring our relationship with other beings by dedicating ourselves to benefiting them and in no way harming them. So with those thoughts in mind, we'll then engage in reciting the Refuge and Bodhicitta verse. Oops, I'm sorry, it's the wrong, here we go. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. So now the actual remedy. And for this, we can visualize that at the heart of Guru Vajrasattva is a flat moon disk, the center of which is the syllable Om. Surrounding that are the letters of the Vajrasattva mantra that we're going to be reciting. We visualize that from the heart of Guru Vajrasattva, and these purifying light rays will come down and enter the crown of our head. And on this first set of recitations, where we are purifying our actions of body, we can visualize the downward cleansing, where that white light enters very forcefully through the crown of our head, kind of going entirely through us, causing all the negativities to be purified and expelled through our lower orifices so that they just kind of exit the body in that way and just dissipate into nothingness. So we're going to again recite the Vajrasattva mantra 7 times with that visualization of the downward cleansing, especially thinking that you're purifying the actions of body that you might have engaged in, such as again killing, stealing, any unwise sexual behavior, or any other harm we've caused physically. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shri Am Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tattagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Again, feel that all these negativities we've engaged in through our bodies, things we've done that have harmed others, and in the process we have harmed ourselves. These are all removed now. All those things that we regretted earlier, completely purified. Really hold that view. And also hold the view that now there is nothing you can do with your body except benefit others through physical actions, helping them by saving their lives, protecting their lives, their possessions, engaging in only wise behavior with regard to other beings. And really hold this thought of having purified all these negativities of body. And we do a round to purify our speech and the actions that we have regretted earlier that pertain to our speech, especially those, again, where we have lied, divided others through our talk, spoken harshly, or spoken meaninglessly, ways we've kind of wasted our time and not used our speech wisely. Here we're going to visualize that from the mantra garland and the hung at the heart of Vajrasattva descends down this brilliant white light that enters the crown of our heads. And here we're like a vase that is sealed at the bottom. And so all of the white light goes to the bottom of our bodies, but then goes and fills its kind of way up to the top. So essentially we have our bodies filling from bottom to top, and all of the negativities now spill out through our upper orifices. And so this is a visualization that we hold as we recite this mantra. Again, 7 times we'll do together. Think that we're purifying all these negativities of speech. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahupe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Meparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Deno Badita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mansa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahupe. So once more, hold the thought that you've had complete purification, this time of all the actions of speech that you've engaged in, that you've regretted earlier. And also hold the thought that now there's nothing you can do except benefit others through your speech, speaking truthfully to them, trying to bring them together to create harmony in our world. To also use your speech gently and with great kindness, and also to always have meaning and purpose behind what you say. I really feel like you now are at that point where speech is nothing but powerful in relation to how you use it with other beings. All the negativities removed. And now the next round, we work with the actions of mind, particularly those that we regretted earlier that pertain to covetous mind, harmful intent, the mind of wrong view, and all of the other delusions that we have that we can see are present in our lives that cause us problems and difficulties in our relationships with others, minds of anger, jealousy, greed, and so on. And especially the root of ignorance that is driving the whole show. Regret all of these moments and think now that we're going to purify them completely through the force of our recitation of these mantras. And here we visualize that from the heart of Guru Vajrasattva, the white light comes down, and when it reaches the center of our chest at the heart center, becomes like turning on a light in a dark room, and all those negativities of mind are completely dispelled. So we do this again and again, even though we think each time they're completely dispelled. We just keep doing this to think that every moment that we are bringing the light down and it enters their heart, all the negativities are removed. And then again and again as we recite the mantra together. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mansa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahupe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Me Paryatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahumpe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Ten Vajrasattva Batita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Munsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Memparyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mansa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutto Kayo Me Bawa Supo Kayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Mempariyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Mempariyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Denopatita Dido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurakto Me Bawa Sarva Siddhim Mempariyatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Vajramame Motsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So once more have the confidence that you've done complete purification this time of all of what defiles our minds, the negative karma we've created solely through our minds, as well as all of our delusions and even the very subtle imprints of our delusions and ignorance. Your mind completely purified and nothing but wholesome, positive thoughts towards all beings generated in your mind. Again, feel the confidence that you are completely purified through this practice. So that was the third of the four opponent powers, the remedy itself. And now to conclude, we generate the feeling of kind of a resolve, a resolution that we are going to do our best to refrain from these negative actions again in the future. And we can do that for those actions that we can make a commitment to not engaging in them again. We make that affirmation now, like I will not kill another sentient being intentionally again in this life. We make whatever commitment we can. But if we can't make that commitment to doing that for the duration of this life, then we make the commitment to refrain for some period of time from that negative action. And being kind to ourselves, recognizing it does take time to change the patterns, the karmic habits that we've had. So in your own mind now, take a minute or so to think about particularly those more prominent actions, how you want to deal with them in either of those ways, making that resolution. Certainly, if you have vows to refrain from certain actions, reaffirm that you will hold those vows purely as well. And then if you still need to make some resolutions after the practice, that's perfectly fine. But let's go ahead and take a moment to rejoice. It's kind of our fifth R, the four R's of regret, reliance, remedy, resolve. Can add that fifth R of rejoicing. Rejoice that you've engaged in this practice. Rejoice in others being here tonight doing this practice. And all the good things that you have done throughout the past 24 hours in particular and throughout your life. Really rejoice in these positive actions. And let's go ahead and dedicate all the positive potential we've created from this practice for our own attainment of enlightenment so we can then be the guide for all sentient beings to take them to that state. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may we quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. And then this aspiration for bodhicitta, that most powerful mind, for that to grow and develop in our own hearts and also in the hearts of all beings. We can think in particular about those beings who do have great power right now in political positions around the world. May they generate this good heart, this wonderful mind of bodhicitta, so they can be of immense benefit to others. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. And then very quickly, we dedicate for the good health and long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all of our precious gurus and the fulfillment of all their holy wishes. Also dedicating for the very swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our spiritual director, so we can benefit once more from his presence in this world. And if there's any other personal dedications you want to make in your own mind, dedicating for those that you know that are experiencing difficulties, you can do that now. And think that those beings come free from their suffering and achieve all the happiness they seek. And may this be so for all beings through what we've done here together tonight or today, depending on your time zone. I realize again that last time I think I said you could go to bed now. Some of you are in the middle of your day, I think. So anyway, wherever you're at, hope the rest of your day is good. Engage in lots of virtue. Try not to do any more non-virtue, but there's always purification. Remember that. So thank you all for joining tonight, and I will see many of you in class sometime soon. All right. Be well. Thank you, Bill, for hosting. Appreciate it.